Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Barakah Double honors to the apostles and elders of the Most High, Shalom to the brothers doing the work in sincerity and truth, which is word to the four corners. It's going to touch on what's, the hot topic as it came out recently is what? Inflation. Because everyone's been feeling it. And one of the main ways it's kind of been mentioned is with fuel, like petrol here in the UK. Then they had they said there was a place where it's like over, I think it was like $2.50 a litre somewhere in the UK, or just over £2 a litre. And then like in the US as well, they were saying it's like what $5 a gallon. So it's basically hitting them points where like people are feeling absolutely destroyed. And it's like the UK is less like for people that travel around, because especially in metropolitan areas like London, like people don't really drive to the same degree. But in London somewhere, what it's an island. London's an island. England's UK is an island. So there's a lot of shit that gets transported. So driving, lorries, whatnot. Their fuel prices going up just means pretty much everything's going to be inflating. And it's not looking, especially because the war in Ukraine ain't toning down. Like the prices are still going to continue to climb. And it's it's at the point where certain people, it's not become make or break here, but more and more people are going to fall into that category, because it's getting peak. And that's like in the US as well. The US, everyone like needs a car to even get around. They need a car to get around. So even more so, the price of fuel going up. That just it's getting peak. And hey, once to get to the point where it's like, you're making a net negative, like even working a job or whatnot, driving there and etc. You ain't even making the money. Then it's going to start to be a mess. That's when people are going to start to get aggy, and madness can start going down. So this on CNBC, it says what? Inflation rose 8.6% in May, highest since 1981. The Consumer Price Index rose 8.6% in May. Also, the way they calculate inflation isn't even the same as they did it back in the 80s. I believe back then they would just do it the same product. But now, when they calculate it, sometimes they can do change the product. Rather than look at the same product, they might look at a slightly different one. So it might not be measuring the full amount of how much prices have gone up. So it says what? The highest increase since December 1981. Core inflation, excluding food and energy, rose 6%. Both were higher than expected. Surging food, gas, and energy prices all contributed to the gain, with fuel oil up 106% over the last year, which is fucking insane. Shelter costs, which comprise 1/3 of the CPI, rose at the fastest 12-month pace in 31 years. The rise in inflation meant workers lost more ground in May, with real wages declining 0.6% from April and 3% on a 12-month basis. Inflation accelerated further in May, with prices rising 8.6% from a year ago, for the fastest increase since December 1981, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Friday. The Consumer Price Index, a wide-ranging measure of goods and services prices, increased even more than the 8.3% Dow Jones estimate, excluding volatile food and energy prices. So-called core CPI was up 6%, slightly higher than the 5.9 estimate. On a monthly basis, headline CPI was up 1%, while core rose 0.6%, compared with respective estimates of 0.7 and 0.5. So it's going beyond estimations. And that's the thing is, as well, is when people become more aware you're gonna have people start to behave more more erratically, because it's like well, it doesn't seem like you're getting a run on the on the what you call it, the petrol stations and whatnot. You're not really getting people doing all kinds of mad shit. But once that starts getting up in a mix, then it's people start getting way more erratic, and it becomes even more unpredictable. Because as soon as it gets to where it's like people just be like, okay, yeah, fuck it, I'm looking to stockpile, then they might start restricting how much petrol people can take and whatnot. People get even more irate. You have people queuing up around the block to get some fuel, and then shit will start running out, and the price will get pushed even higher. So yeah. It says what? Those escalating prices meant workers took another pay cut during the month. Real wages, when accounting for inflation, fell 0.6% in April, even though the average hourly earnings rose 0.3%, according to a separate BLS release. On a 12-month basis, real average hourly earnings were down 3%. Markets reacted negatively to the report, with stock futures indicating a sharply lower open on Wall Street and government bond yields rising. Yeah, I think they said the S&P, was it S&P? I think the Dow went down like 3%. S&P might have been like 5 or 6. So it says what? It's hard to look at May's inflation data and not be disappointed. The Morning Consult's chief economist John Lear, we're just not yet seeing any signs that we're in the clear. And that's the thing as well, is people are thinking it's a temporary thing. They're thinking it's going to blow over because, they're basking in the glow of post C-19, where they're once again allowed to go out, they can go on holiday, they can enjoy themselves, they can have a good time. They're thinking like, oh, well, everything's just going to come back to normal. But the crises are compounded, man. Because the food thing is something where it's like famines happening. The fact that there's a war in Ukraine and Russia has got sanctions on them means there's things that where there's not going to be a replacement for that. That's why you had countries like Singapore, I believe, stop exporting certain things because why? There's only a limited amount left. So all these things compounding, it's not going to get easy. The inflation report comes with the Federal Reserve in the early stages of a rate hiking campaign to slow growth and bring down prices. May's report likely solidifies the likelihood of multiple 50 basis point interest rate increases ahead. Obviously, nothing is good in this report, said Julian Bridgeton, president of M12 Partners, a global macroeconomic research firm. There is nothing in there that's going to give the Fed any cheer. I struggle to see how the Fed can back off. Yeah, so it's all these things mean, it's going forward. It's gonna continue to persist. And this is the thing as well. When you come to the energy side of it, it's still summertime. If it's once you see how the rates are when you're going into September, into October, into November, then it's going to be exponential because people are going to have to be paying for heating. And it's already, in the UK, we already had an energy crisis where a shitload of all the smaller companies got fucking done out. So now, going into, it's going to be even worse. Now you got Rishi talking about, he's doing X, Y, Z to kind of make it, bearable. But in reality, it's not going to be, it's not going to be as easy as it seems because the full scope hasn't been experienced yet. When we get back into winter, if people are paying like £700-800 a month energy bills, then people are just going to be freezing to death in their house because they ain't going to turn that shit on, man. Right, let me scripture. Habakkuk 2 and 4 says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth hope. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yeah, so all these nations now, they've basically become, part of the American empire. Because why? America has been the chief one to go over and basically integrate these guys into the global order, where you're basically revolving around what the petrodollar. And that's what you've had as a global reserve currency. Now you have the foundation of that, which is meant to be the oil, being shaky because of what's going down with Russia. The dollar itself has been suspect for a while because of how all these different fucking economic programs. And now people their faith in this, and it's a faith-based system anyway, with the money, where people believe there's some worth to it. But what? Now they're looking at it like, maybe we were wrong all along. And that's the thing, is what? That thick clay, which is what? Those heavy debts. There's an extreme amount of debt all around, and it's like if one domino collapses, the whole thing's done. And you've had that happen various times before, like 2008. People were done out, man. There was no hope. Like, people fucking offered themselves. But hey, that's what people want to believe in the dream that is America. But it's only going to run so far, and you can see not even the birthing pains. You can see the cracks, the chinks in the armor, leading to his downfall. Revelation 18. Let's say Revelation 18 and 2, and it says, And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and all the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich for the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, everyone's basically what? America has been destroyed. Everyone's doing business with it. Everyone's interlinked. Everyone's reliant on it. They're looking to either sell goods to America, sell their labor, or go to America to have some means of setting themselves up, to build themselves up and then go back home, or settle down in America. But then what? All that draw, all that luster that America had, that's all coming to an end. The money is a key part of how America built themselves up. Them becoming the economic powerhouse, them bringing a great amount of resources to themselves, them basically being like what? The hub for all kinds of skilled peoples and whatnot. That's all coming to an end. A lot of industries are moved out. Like, they talk about Silicon Valley, but it's like a lot of industries, they're no longer. It's like even with cars. The car was born in America, but now it's like America ain't even making like the highest grade cars, man. America ain't even the main spot that people go to. Like, okay, let me get a nice American car. All these different points of pride, they come to an end. So it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. Yeah. So it's receiving the recompense for its actions as it's gone round and what? Being able to heat resources, being able to build itself up. Now all those people are looking like, yo, how the fuck have these guys been getting away with this shit for so long? Why are we even looking up to them? That's why the spirits come off them. And that's why as well, as America falls more and more, all these different nations are going to be, looking down on America like, why was it revered so? So it says, how much she have glorified herself and live deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So yeah, all that bliss, all that living life in a fast lane, basically being able to enjoy all the dainties, all the delicate things in life. Now that's all coming to an end, and the average Joe is going to be feeling it first, but it's going to be felt all throughout, even up to the elites. These guys are going to be off in their space stations, underground, underwater, thinking they're going to be escaping from the judgments to come, but it's going to come for them too. And that's why it's like, what, the whole economic structure, that shit's going to be completely kaput. We ain't going to be using those dollars in the kingdom. Dow Jones, no one's going to be keeping track of those Dow Jones in the kingdom, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Yeah,